working on the 2013 Ford Edge with the 2.0 turbo, and I want to talk about the intake valves. We need to replace those. I'll touch on the exhaust in a minute. So I ordered these DNJ brand valves. IV4235 is the intake. The exhaust has a different number, and then there's the Ford OEM intake valve number. So initially what happened was I scoured the internet for an alternative to Ford because it takes a while to get and they're expensive. So this one on the right is the Ford intake valve. This one on the left is the DNJ intake valve. Now when I got them, I noticed that they are different in size. The diameter of the dish is much larger on this DNJ than on the Ford. So I went back to the old interwebs and scoured to find out if there was a reason for that, if it's an error, or if it absolutely does work. I didn't find anything to actually say don't use these, because everything says this is supposed to fit this motor, including the 9th VIN spot location. So put the engine back together and ran it, and it's got some pretty bad valve train noise. So I will check the valve lash when I put it together this time, but I'm just curious if the diameter of this dish is causing a problem when it's coming in and out versus the original size, because previously it did not have that noise. So let's do some measurements. Alright, so we're going to take the DNJ valve. Let's do a little measurement. And I've got my little Harbor Freight guy here, so you always want to take multiple measurements just to be sure. So let's just see what it comes out to. $34.95, 98, 95, 35, depending on where you line it up at. Okay, so here's the OEM Ford product. Let's zero it out. $31.92. Let's see, make sure I'm in the middle. 32.43. That's been more consistent with what I was coming up with, 32.4. So what's it look like next to each other? Alright, so this is the Ford, it's DNJ. I mean, clearly it's bigger, so let's see how it sits into the valve head. Alright, so this is the DNJ, and that's the Ford. Let's just push them in. I mean, this one just seats in better. Now, I'll tell you that when I did this, I did do leak down tests and I did do a compression test, and those checked out just fine. So as far as sealability, it seemed to seal, and I did do the valve grind on it to make sure it was seating. It's just that obviously it would have been creating some sort of a new bevel within it. But my thought is, just with that dish diameter, when it comes out a little bit, that maybe it's just doing something different. I don't know. Just a guess. So I want to take a look at the size of the valve seat on the valve head itself on the back side here, and just get a measurement of where it should sit inside the head. It's going to be close. It's hard to get right on this. Let's call that 30.89, maybe 31. Compare that to the Ford. I have to go back 29.88, 29, let's see. I mean, it's not perfect holding it just like this, but there is a significant difference in where those seats are compared to each other versus where it's at in the head. So I'd think there would have to be some sort of a problem with that. Let's just double check the lengths, make sure that they're the same. Come on. So 103, so let's just say 104. That was the DNJ, this is the Ford. 103.63, again, this Harbor Freight one, it could be off just a little bit. I'll recheck it. So I re-zeroed it and redid it, 103.32, but Harbor Freight. Alright, so the exhaust valve is EV4235, or E for exhaust. And here's the OEM Ford exhaust. And then there's the DNJ. It's got a bigger dish, but the diameter didn't seem to be a problem. When I was replacing those seemed to be exactly the same. It was just the intake that was different. So I'm leaving the DNJ exhaust in there as it is. Now to follow up on the intake valves themselves, there's the number for this particular car. They make different ones, I guess, for different model. Use your van, call your Ford dealer. And they wanted to charge $50 a piece for each of these. So I did find on, FordPartsGiant.com, exact same item number. It just takes you longer to get them, like a week to 10 days to get them delivered that way. But it was like $11 a piece plus tax and shipping, so it really wasn't that bad. It's difficult to find dimensions for the size of the base of the dish, even the length of them, online anywhere. So I'll try to put that down in the description. Otherwise, you can just review the video again and see the sizes. But I hope it helps you out. Appreciate it. Thanks.